have that up on the board as a reference. But what I want to do is I need to sit. And I'm going to turn this desk around, and I'm just going to sit on the back of this desk backwards. You all did nothing wrong. Deal? All right. So, my friends, I know we started this problem yesterday, and I'm going to kind of just draw the best I can what it kind of looks like. It looks like this, right? Okay, help me out. Help me out. What was this corner point? 10 comma negative 10. Thank you. And what was this point right here? Negative 3, 4. Thank you. And then what was this point here? 2 comma 9. Okay. And this point here? 5, 9. That's supposed to be a 9, but I can't write. And then this last point was 10, negative 1? Okay. So I know I don't have the graph, but I'm just trying to draw it up there. So, friends, can we have this agreement? If I say something and you miss it or it doesn't make sense, will you stop me then and there? Deal? Yeah. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try something. And when I try something, it always seems to fail. So I know I talked about the domain yesterday, but I wanted to change this up a little bit. So the domain are the x values. Does that make sense so far? So my furthest left x value is negative 10, and my furthest right x value is positive 10. Now, I'm not too concerned if you understand the square brackets or the rounded brackets. So like, don't have that be the major part of where you get hung up. I need to group this in brackets at some point. I'm going to tell you that these are both in square brackets. And the reason those are both in square brackets is because I have physical points that I have drawn on the graph. Does that make sense?
Wait, so would it ever be like the other one?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely get there. But because I have these points at the end here and here, because it's an actual point, that's why it's a square bracket. Sometimes they refer to it as a hard bracket. Okay? Is that good so far?
Yeah.
And I know I started that yesterday. Didn't I do the domain and range on this one yesterday? Okay. Okay. So then the range, and I know we talked about it yesterday, but I want to just change it a little tiny bit just to make sure we feel comfortable. The range, if I do use a highlighter, they are the y values. And there's a reason I used colors, so you can see that I have an x and a y value. They're separate things. So the range itself goes from bottom to top. Lowest bottom to top. And I know I talked about it yesterday, so you should have the answer down. So what was my lowest y value? Negative 1. And what is my highest y value? 9. And it's okay that it repeats. You're just trying to say, I have a low and a high value. Now, again, those are points, so you can put them in square brackets. Now, again, the brackets are not the most important thing that we're doing on here. Okay. So far, does everything that we have written up here make sense? We're okay with that? Okay. Yep. All right. So now I want to talk about something, and you have got to stop me if this doesn't make sense. Got it? So I want to talk about where it's increasing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to highlight this in pink. Okay? Now listen to what I'm going to say carefully and translate this, please. Increasing, as I go right, the graph goes up. So as I go right, that's my right hand, right? The graph goes up. Make sense? So as I go right, the graph goes up. As I go right, the graph goes up. That's the only part of this graph that's increasing. Do you agree with that? Does that make sense what I just said? As I go right, the graph goes up. There's only one portion of this that it's increasing. Does that make sense? Everyone looking at the board, making sense of that? All right, now, y'all trust me? Do we all agree that sometimes they write things in math that you're looking at it going, oh, that means this, and then all of a sudden you hear something else and it's like something totally different, and you're like, where did the miracle just take place? You guys know what I'm talking about? All right, so when you're talking about increasing, or pretty much everything else in here, you're writing it and it looks actually like a point. Okay? Now, if you look at the domain and the range, if I put parentheses around it, wouldn't they look like a point? Like an ordered pair, how you would graph something? Okay, so it's increasing. I'm going to use the x value and talk about where it's increasing. So it's going from 3 to 2. And let me go to the board and show you where those numbers came from. Okay? This answer is not done. I still have to group it somehow. So you use the x value to describe what's taking place in the y. I use the x value, the 3 and the 2, to describe what's going on in the y. Between -3 and 2, -3 and 2, isn't the graph increasing? As I go right, it goes up. Does that make sense how I said that? Yeah. See. Okay, so friends, this answer is not quite done as it sits here. But do you understand where this -3 and this -2 came from our graph? Yeah. I'm using the x value to describe something that's taking place in the y, which kind of is a brain twister. Okay, it seems kind of strange. Now, as far as increasing goes, remember what I had said earlier? Where like sometimes something's said in math or written in math and you're like, oh, that's what it is. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, something different just happened. Okay? So are you good with the 3, 2? Everybody good with the 3, 2? Benito, good with the 3, 2? Cool. All right. So eyes at the board. Watch what I'm going to do. You all said you're good with the 3, 2. You feel comfortable with what it's doing. I'm going to put this in parentheses. Yeah.
Why is it 30 first?
Goes left to right.
Oh.
Just like you would read them. Okay. All right. Now, this is where your mind is going to sit there and start making things different because you're going to look at this later going, oh, sweet, that's the point, -3, 2. No. This is where it's increasing. This is an x value. This is an x value. Can I label a point x and x? No. That's where there's kind of a goofy disconnect, and I just want to be very clear about it. Hey, thanks for a little. I got the fuse. Thanks, brother. All right. What'd you do? Play with matches again? Okay. All right. So friends, you all told me you were good with the -3 and a 2. All I did now is just put it in parentheses. It just has to be grouped. Now, it's very possible that these could become square brackets, but again, I'm not too worried about it. Like, I'd worry about that in like 2 years from now. Okay, it's not the most pivotal thing. So sometimes a square bracket might come in onto those where it's increasing. Okay, friends, fist to 5 on the increasing. 5, you understand the increasing. Fist if you don't get it all. Fist to 5. Fist to 5.
I got one question.
Yeah.
So, but like, would it always have that like bracket?
For now, I'm going to say for now. For this math class, yes.
But
But to know, like in the future, like 2 years from now, math class, you might see a square bracket. Okay? But right now, I'm not like too worried about it. I'm not crying myself to sleep if you put square brackets around everything or rounded brackets. Okay? All right. So the next thing we want to talk about is where the graph is decreasing. So decreasing. Did that pass tell him to go to his dean right this second?
He said it, like, wrote it on it, but, yeah,
Oh, cool. Thanks. All right. So, ready? So, friends, if increasing means as I go right, the graph goes up, what do you think decreasing means? Close. As I go right, it goes down. So keep the right always right. Cool. So as I decrease, this is where it's decreasing. Okay? As I go right, the graph goes down, decreasing. Use the x value though. Okay? So okay, hang on. Okay. I'm gonna tell you this one way. The only time we utilize just the y's is for the range. For like almost everything else in math, you use the x to describe. Okay, so from here on out, you only use the y's when you talk about the range because that's the y. There might be an inkling where you use a point that has the x and the y in it as a point, but as far as like domain, or as far as increasing, decreasing, the x always tells what it's doing. So, Sean, you got this. Where's it decreasing using the x's? Yeah, 5 and 10. And again, I'm going to put it in parentheses. Okay. Increasing as I go right, it goes up. Decreasing as I go right, it goes down. Seem okay? All right. All right, we good?
No.
Constant. Constant. Horizontal line. Constant. Here, here. 2 places it's constant. Okay? 2 places it's constant. Constant made a horizontal line. That's all we're saying. Huh? Horizontal line with that. Okay? All right. I'm going to have 2 answers for this. So, one of my constants is from -10 to -3, which takes care of this one. Agree? What's the other one? 2 to 5. Very good. Now, again, this is where it gets goofy, my friends, and trust me, I've taught for a long time, so I'm trying to offset like mistakes going, oh, that's right. These look like they're points on a graph, right? It's like, oh, I can graph -10, -3. Unfortunately, math people don't have a big enough creative mind to realize, okay, let's use parentheses for the points only. And let's figure out some other symbol that we're going to use for group. But unfortunately, they haven't invited me to those meetings. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Does it really matter what thing we use or not?
I'm not worried about if a parenthesis or a square bracket.
It doesn't matter.
Or if you have 2 years to worry about it. Cool?
I won't get it. It won't like lower my grade.
No. Now, I will tell you, if it's on multiple choice, and I realize they made the multiple choice were square brackets and rounded brackets, I'm going to say, hey, cross off this answer because it's not that important. You know, much later in math, it becomes something where it's like, kind of nitpicking. But right now, just make sure you have a group somehow. Okay? All right, yeah.
So pretty much if there's like 2, you just put both of them?
Uh-huh. Okay. Shh. Ready? What? Now, I'm going to teach this incorrectly to you because I want you to understand it, and it's an easy thing to fix later. Okay, friends, will you look at the original graph that we have drawn? Where is it the lowest point? 10, 1. 10 or 10, negative 1. Now, I will tell you this. This is the lowest point on the graph. Now, in the future, what they'll say is it's just the y value that you worry about. But for right now, so this 10, negative 1 is the actual point. And what's the max? And it could be multiple points. Yeah. So 2, 9 and 5, 9. Okay. Okay. Both of these points we're going to classify. Now again, friends, in the future, like 2026, they'll probably only ask for the y value there. But for right now, just put the actual point. So I put down here that this is a point in points for a reason, because there were actual physical points on the graph. Agree? All the rest of these were, you're talking about what's going on in the x direction to what's doing in the y direction. Okay. Friends, may I go to number 7? Yeah.
Wait, so for the range?
Yeah.
Like, is the far left one supposed to be 9?
That's a 9. Negative 1 to 9. So negative 1 to 9.
Oh, wait, why?
So the range is talking about what's going on in the y direction. The lowest y value to the highest y value. So the lowest y value was negative 1. The highest y value was 9. If honestly, if you put that in parentheses, no worries. Cool? All right. Can I move off this graph? This was kind of intense and heavy. Okay. Can I do number 7 for you? Can we do this one? We good? I'm going to move on. I'm going to do the best I can to try and draw it. All right. So, friends, that is supposed to represent the picture up on this board. Can you see that okay? So there's a couple things I want to note. I want to note what the point is here. So this point here is negative 10, 2. Okay? Where we turn appears to be negative 2, 2. Now this is going to get a little goofy. We change directions up here, agree? Which appears to be 0, 6. Come down there. This point here appears to be 3, 3, 3, negative 3. Now, friends, do you feel comfortable with those points there? Does that make sense? Do you feel comfortable how I got that? What's that? I love that you're asking this question. Sean, look at the board. Is there an arrow or is it a solid dot? An arrow. Sean, you know this. Yeah, where's that arrow pointing to forever? To the right. What's a number forever to the right? Yes, sir. Okay. Oh, that's a huge one. Sean, I love that you saw that. I purposely had that there and you nailed it. Okay, this is pointing to infinity. This is not an end point. Agree? This is going to go forever. Okay. What time did we get out of here? Sweet. All right, ready? All right, I'm not going to highlight too many things here. Yeah. You know it? You got it for domain?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Negative 10 and 3. Yeah.
I like it, but I heard it. Infinity, yeah.
Is infinity x or what?
So what it's doing is I'm looking at the x values on the domain. So it starts here, the furthest left x point is negative 10. The furthest right x point happens to be infinity. Okay? So that was a good call. I mean, it's really powerful to see this question because all of a sudden it's like, what do you mean it doesn't end? The arrow is indicating it's going forever. Like this graph did all the fancy stuff now, and then it's going to go off to Never Never Land. Kind of crazy, isn't it? All right. The range. The range, ready? The range are the y values, agreed? Range is the only place where we're going to use the y values. What's my very lowest y value? -3. What's my highest y value? 6. Very good. And again, we'll just put it in square brackets. Now, notice I did square brackets on the numbers, and I have a rounded bracket at the parenthesis for infinity. Okay? That's on purpose. You can't get to infinity, so it's always a round bracket in math. If you mess it up, don't worry. As long as you got the infinity in place, I know what you're talking about. There are going to be some teachers later that'll be like, it's a round bracket at infinity. It's like, whatever. All right. Increasing. Okay. Increasing. Right there. As I go right, the graph goes up. So where's it increasing? Use the x values to tell me. -2 to 0. Very good. And for the most part, on all these are always going to be parentheses. Okay? If it's increasing there, then it's decreasing. It's decreasing here. As I go right, it goes down. What's the x values I use? 0, 3. Very good. Okay, do you feel kind of comfortable? Like, this is different math, isn't it? It's like, stirrup, dude, where's the add, subtract, multiply, and divide? Not there. Okay. So we got domain, range, increasing, decreasing, constant. What did I say constant means? Horizontal line. Constant. Okay, so it's here, and it's here. And I'm going to purposely make that arrow. Okay, so where's the constant? Give me one of the regions. Yep, -10, -2. Anyone want to take a shot at the other one? 2? Oh. 3 to infinity. No, because I'm using the x values. So -10 to -2. And then 3 to infinity. Okay, minimum. Maximum. What does it appear my lowest y value would be? 3, -3. And again, I'm telling you right now, we're listing it as a point. There's going to be a class that you get to that you only list the y component. But for right now, just list it as a point. What's my maximum y value? 0 and 6. And I purposely put in that it's a point. Okay. Hey, friends, do me a favor. Will you try number 8 on your own? I'm going to draw it up on the board, but see if you could try number 8. First thing you should do on number 8 is get all of the points. Okay? Get all the turning points. So, and then notice, right over here, that's an arrow, isn't it? That's an arrow right there, isn't it? So keep note of that. I'll have it going up on the board, but I'm going to stay quiet. So up there is that entire problem written down. Okay. Hey, friends. Friends, listen. Find this problem in your notebook. Find this problem in your notebook or in that packet. Okay? You find it? Will you try this problem? Try this problem. There's a couple that you might not know as far as this goes. You won't know that. You won't know that. Won't know that. Okay, so this is further in your packet. This is further later in your packet. Okay, there's one singleton problem I want you to try. I boxed it in. You won't know how to do 8, 9, or 10, but I think you can do all the rest of that. And friends, I think it'd be really healthy if you gave me a try tonight or after this class. Give me a try on that one particular problem because it's fresh in your head. I gave you so much rich, good energy on this stuff. So if you give me that one little one to try, that's in the packet. Did you find it in the packet? Okay.